for today's event, because we needed a specialist and to invite someone at such an young age involved deeply in the subject is a very good thing, and we're all waiting eagerly to hear from her. And now to your question, why did we decide to do this? Right? You yourself said, Poonamji, that women, we have 365 days we take care of others. So while taking care of others, women always forget about themselves. And they forget that they have to take care of themselves too. And this is a very noble project where we are telling the women that stop somewhere in between, take care of yourself, test yourself, because we all know that prevention is better than cure, especially where cancer and breast cancer is concerned. Because a simple test, simple self-test, a simple test once a year from some hospital, or even a self-breast examination goes a long way to preventing and helping cure this disease. So that is the reason, like SBI Foundation does have its own healthcare vertical. We have a flagship program where we do a lot of interventions for health. Other than, it started with the COVID initiatives that we took a couple of years back, but we have branched out to several other projects too. And cancer, addressing cancer issues has been one of the main programs that we have. And so we're very, very happy that YouWeCan Foundation had thought of this idea along with us. Because we chose Goa because we thought that it's easier being a smaller state and a more educated populace there. So it would be easier for us to make an impact in one full state at one time. So that's why we partnered with YouWeCan Foundation to see what difference we can make to the lives of women. So I am very sure that this project will help the 1 lakh women that we propose to test during this 1 year, and ensure that each woman continues to stay empowered and take good care of her health. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Manjula ji. Indeed, you talked about awareness and early detection, and that's what can help the women folk. I'll talk about my story a little later, because that's what saved my life. So that is one reason why I'm such a strong crusader for this. And yes, definitely we'll make this a success in Goa, and we're hoping that, we do such a good job of it that the other states will emulate the, program in their states also. So we wish ourselves and everyone here good luck so that, we can take this further. And I'd actually like to ask Lalit ji that what do you feel about the scalability of this project? What are your views? How we can scale it further, and what do you think are the options available to us to scale it to larger heights?
Yeah, thank you, Poonamji, for your questions, and thank you for inviting me to the panel. And again, a very happy Women's Day to all. So when we talk about this unique partnership of us with Government of Goa and YouWeCan Foundation, so where we have kept an ambitious target of screening more than 1 lakh women in North and South Goa. So this itself talked about the scale of the project and the ambitions which we are having. So definitely scaling of this project is required, because if you talk about the gender equality, if we talk about the UN's Gender Equality Index 2019, still India ranked 123rd again out of 162 countries. So still we are quite below the ladder, or what we say, we need to, I think, the woman as a primary caregiver in the family every time neglects our own health. And I think we men in the society, whatever our role is as a husband, as a brother, as a father, we also know very little about these things, because these things can be discussed openly in the family. So I can discuss with my wife, but not to my daughter, not to my sister, so something like that. So this inhibitions sometimes prohibits timely detection, timely prohibition if any problem is happening. So how to go ahead with this? And I think we are totally dependent on the medical fraternity for this. So only the first source where they can detect any issue or any problem which can be referred further. So definitely this project is very ambitious project, and keeping in view the state of women's health in different states and in our country, we need to scale this. Definitely we need to scale this, and I think we have set an ambitious target of screening 1 lakh women. So we are very what we say uh, very fortunate to uh, be with this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lalit. Yes, this project was a bit of a slow starter because of COVID and so many other reasons. And then the elections came, but now we are going full steam. And I'm sure that we are going to achieve our target of the 1 lakh women. And as you said, if you see the caption, the hashtag says it starts with me. And this is not just for the women folk to say that it starts with me, but also for all the men who are here and can hear me, that it actually starts with you too, because the women need all the support that you can provide them as a father, brother, husband, whatever. And you did say that, you would speak to your wife, but hesitate in talking to your daughter or your sister. But that's the myth that we have to break, and have comfortable conversations around that. And honestly speaking, breast cancer, cervical cancers are still such a taboo. Dr. Pallavi will agree with me that it's not just the women in the village, but also women in first tier cities that hesitate to talk about this. So Pallavi, your thoughts on this as to why women shy away from talking about it, and why they don't want to, how everybody's talking about how women put their health on the back burner. But I think especially related to breast and cervical cancer, this is a bit of a taboo and an uncomfortable question. So any thoughts on this particular subject? Over to you, Pallavi.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Poonam. Yes, definitely. There is a myth, there is a taboo related to all these female cancers. And not alone female cancers, I think accessibility to health information as well as health services is a major challenge for women all across our country. And somewhere I feel, I think you chose the very appropriate topic for today, because even the World Cancer Day themes revolves around close the gap. So somewhere we have to close this gap, and that would happen only when the onus lies on the people themselves. So you have to take your health in your hands. And regarding breaking these barriers, these myths, a lot has to be done by the people like us, and also the intellectuals, whosoever, at any platform, at any place. These topics have to be brought forward. Once this happens, once you start talking about these issues, people will start to feel comfortable about it. So yes, I have worked at ground levels. I have worked in communities, in rural setups, in outreach camps. Even though we start with a camp, it's very difficult to pull patients to come to those camps. So why is this situation happening? That will only happen when we can engage the people from their community into our programs. And that is a very thoughtful step which was taken by our national health programs, by introducing the ASHA workers as the community volunteers. I'm sure many of you are aware of such a volunteer existing at the population level of 1,000. So a woman coming from her own community, maybe if we could engage her in our conversations, if we could involve her and pulling up the ladies from the rural background, from the vulnerable places, they would open up more to us. And like we have to strategize things in accordance with the localities. If we are in the urban setup, everybody access smartphones, and if we could have some kind of applications developed wherein there is constant reminders. We have some period calendars with us. Why not include breast cancer screening also? And there's a constant to the lady, now it's time for your breast self examination. So something like that we have to think about.
And before twice.
I think Poonamji's connectivity is not good. Are you able to hear Pallavi?
Yes, yes, we are here. So I think some issue with.
We lost touch with Poonam ji.
Yeah. I think next we would like you to start your talk, Dr. Pallavi.
So, how do we go about talking to women about their health, especially when it comes to breast cancers and cervical cancers, which are in fact the more common cancers in Indian women? So if we look at the burden, I would just like to display a slideshow. So looking at the burden, globally, we have breast cancer as the number one cancer among females, and not only among females. If you look at the statistics of both the sexes combined, still breast cancer tops the list. And even in terms of mortality, breast cancer is number one. And India is no different from the world statistics. We have around 178,361 cases estimated in the year 2020 alone. These are just the new cases I'm telling you. So out of all the cancers which are happening in women, more than a quarter are in the breast. So once the burden is so high, that means the disease, it cannot be left within the doctor's chamber. It has to be spoken about on a large scale to masses, because I believe among all the people who are attending this session today, 50% of you must be knowing someone or the other who in their family, in their vicinity, among their friend circle, who must have encountered this cancer. The good thing about breast cancer is that we have a lot of treatment modalities available. So it is that kind of myth also has to be broken, that, okay, fine, I am having cancer, now I can't do anything about it. So to visit a doctor and why to seek care? I have so many other things to be done at home, to be finished before I end this life. So that kind of mentality has to be, casted off. Because breast cancer is one cancer. Mrs. Poonam, I think we lost connection with you, and
Yes.
she is one big example. I would love to hear the story which she has to share, wherein you know that you have cancer and how you fight it, because all the kind of support is available with us. We have chemotherapy, the breast conservation surgeries, the radiotherapy, the hormone. I mean, there is plethora of treatment modalities available. So we can definitely make use of that and need not be scared of this disease. Over to you, Mrs. Poonam, for sharing your views on this.
Yeah, Pallavi. So I'm sorry I dropped off, but I was just talking about how early detection really matters. And both the times that I had cancer, I was aware of it. And actually, the second time when I went in, I had just gone for my annual checkup, and they found this little lump that looked a bit dangerous. And, that's how it was. But the first time round, I had to go through chemo, radiation, and of course, both times surgery and radiation. But, I was never really scared that I was going to lose my life, or that, something earth-shattering had happened to me. Of course, I was upset that I had this disease. But the fact is that the doctors took such good care of me. And every person that I met, whether it was my surgeon or it was my chemo doctor or my radiologist, they were so comforting all the time. And, once the treatment was done, they said, it's over, it's done, it's out. And, you're a fresh woman. Now just go enjoy your life, meet everybody, and don't stress about your hair not being there. It will grow back in some time. So at every step, I was made to feel that I was just fighting a temporary battle. And then, of course, I would like to tell all the people sitting over here today that support of the family is so important. you need to have your family rally around you and tell you that it's all right, it's a passing phase, and you as a mother or a wife have looked after us all our lives, and now just sit back and relax and we'll look after you. So anyone unfortunately having cancer in their family, somebody suffering, please give them all your support. Tell them that it's a temporary phase. Tell them it's not life-threatening and you are in good hands and life will be back to normal very soon. So early detection, being aware, and keeping a positive, bent of mind, I think are three very, very important factors that you have to keep in your mind. Right, Pallavi? Would you agree on what I said?
Absolutely agreed. Once we can detect it, we can treat it better, we can ensure a better survival. So definitely early diagnosis goes a long way.
Correct. So, would you, as a doctor, would you like to share some tips with the women folks sitting here as to what are the kind of signs that they should? Because I found this, little lump that seemed very, normal and non-dangerous to me. In fact, I spent 15, 20 days just treating myself that there was nothing wrong. And, it was just like some, kuch bhi hoga, but it's nothing dangerous. And it took me quite some time to pick up the courage to actually go for my mammogram. But would you like to share some tips on what women can watch out for? And also, please do emphasize that cancer is no longer a disease of the middle-aged people like me or old people. It's striking the young girls also at a very early age.
True. That's absolutely a fact now, that compared to our Western counterparts, Indian women are experiencing this disease much earlier, at least a decade earlier. So considering a lump in a young female to be non-malignant without any investigation would be, I would say, a crime. So it's better, whatever lump, whatever problems you are experiencing in your brain, it has to be brought notice of your clinician and it has to be taken care of. Until proven that it is not malignant, it should not be considered non-malignant. So what we can do about it is, because right now in our country, we do not have a structured screening program using mammography, but the mammograms and the sonomammography facilities are available at the centers as on request. However, the thing which is helping us in India is a clinical breast examination and self-breast awareness. I think these two are going to help us for 1 or 2 decades still, because before mammography takes up the lead and becomes the prime mode of screening. And why these two modalities are important is because even before you go to a doctor, even before you report your symptoms to anyone, the first person who experiences these symptoms is us, ourselves. So we should be aware about how our body is like. We should be aware how normal we look. Then only we'll be able to identify what the abnormality. So how to understand the abnormality? You can just have a look at some of the pictures. This will help you in understand what abnormalities we are looking for when we are examining our own breast. So there will be a change in size or shape of the breast. Otherwise also, there is a slight discrepancy between the right and left side. Till we know how our body looked like normally, we will not be able to decipher that change. So in order to do that, we should be regularly looking at ourselves, and then only we'll be able to identify what is the difference. So any kind of change in the size or the shape of the breast, that could be an indication for an underlying cancer. Then any kind of lump, whether it is painless, whether it is painful, whether it is a size of a moong ki dal, whether it is of a size of a big chana or whether it is a size of a nimbu, it can be a sign of an underlying cancer. So better, if you can appreciate that lump, that means it has to be investigated. And how to appreciate it early? If you are in a habit of regularly palpating yourself, regularly feeling yourself, then only you'll be able to identify the change that is happening. any kind of discharge oozing out of your nipples, except for the milk which is oozing out of a lactating mother, anything which is coming out of nipple could be a sign of an underlying cancer. Any sort of skin changes. Sometimes a cancer may present only as a skin change. It could only it would look like an eczema, but it would actually be a cancer, and it has happened because you might not even see a lump underneath. There would only be skin changes. Sometimes the nipples will be inverted. Now, nipple inversion can even happen congenitally, that is at birth. But such kind of nipple inversions are not cancerous. But if there is a recent onset nipple inversion, then it has to be investigated. Putty orange appearance. The skin of the breast appears like a orange peel. This is because of the cancer cells depositing under skin in the subcutaneous layer. So this kind of appearance is also pointing towards an underlying malignancy. Skin, if the skin is getting pulled inside, that is because the cancer cells are pulling it inwards. So that can also be a sign. And then never forget the armpit, because the breast tail lies in the armpit, and the drainage of the breast tissue, that also goes into the axillary lymph nodes first. So never forget to look for these swellings in the armpit, because many a times it has been seen that though the lady never had any lump in any of her breasts, but she had a swelling in her armpit, axillary lymph nodes were inflamed, and there was only minor skin changes on the breast. So cancer may present like this as well. And if these things are not taken care of, those stages, they might appear like this later on. So we need not wait for this to happen. Now, what do we do to identify it early? As we have already been naming it breast self-awareness and clinical breast examination. Now, what is the difference between the two things? They're actually, we are just using our hands to examine our breast. In one method, we are examining ourselves, and in the other, somebody who's experienced in doing that is doing that. So that is a clinical breast examination. Methods are all the more similar. So in self-breast examination, first is when do we do this and how do we do this? So for when, the answer is every month. Every month on which date? So for ladies who are undergoing menses, we have decided that, okay, fine, 7 to 10 days after your periods have started, that day can be fixed for your self-breast examination. For women who are not menstruating, the menopausal ladies, they can fix any day of the month and they can take up this examination. The positions for doing this self-breast examination are sitting or standing in front of a mirror. That way you are just inspecting yourself without touching yourself. You're just looking at yourself. And the other step is while lying down or while taking a shower. But I would prefer the lying down position, but because that gives support to your breast and you are able to palpate or feel the lump better. So sitting in front with hands down, then with hands up, and then with hands by your side on your hip and tightening and loosening them alternatively. And while lying down, you will use the flat of your fingers to feel the lump, because if you use the tip of the fingers, the breast tissue in itself is a lumpy tissue and you will feel lot many lumps which are actually not there. So better to use the flat of your hands. The same way a clinician, a nurse, or somebody who's trained in doing this examination can do this examination for you, but that frequency will vary from once in 1 year annually or maybe once in 2 years. So self-breast examination every month and clinical breast examination, if not yearly, at least once in 2 to 3 years. If you permit, I'll just video how a self-breast examination.
Anji, please go ahead.
आइए आज हम आने वाले आइए आज हम आपको आपको यह तरीका अच्छी
No, Pallavi, only the sound is coming. Can't see the video. Some network issue, I guess.
आइए आज हम परीक्षण करना। आने वाले वीडियो में आपको यह तरीका अच्छे से समझाया जाए। Is it still not visible?
Left. It is, but it's not playing too well.
जांच 5 चरणों में की जाती है। पहले तो चरण में आईने के सामने कपड़े बदलते वक्त देखकर या निरीक्षण कर और बाद के 3 चरणों में छूकर की जांच करते हैं। पहले चरण में दोनों हाथों को कमर पर रखकर दोनों स्तन के आकार और साइज में किसी भी प्रकार के बदलाव का निरीक्षण करें। साथ ही स्तन की त्वचा में किसी भी प्रकार की लालिमा, चकत्ते, त्वचा का अंदर धंसना, संतरे के छिलके की तरह होना या निप्पल का अंदर धंसना, पानी एवं खून का होना, यह सब देखना चाहिए। दूसरे चरण में यही सारी जांचें हाथों को ऊपर करके देखनी चाहिए। चरण की जांच किसी सख्त बिस्तर या तख्त पर लेटकर करते हैं। इसके लिए बाएं हाथ को ऊपर करके उसी कंधे के नीचे तकिया लगाकर दाएं हाथ से यह जांच करें। याद रखें, एक तरफ की छाती की जांच के लिए दाएं हाथ का और दाईं तरफ की छाती के लिए बाएं हाथ का इस्तेमाल करते हैं। चौथे चरण में दूध की नलियों जांच जाती है। इसके लिए निप्पल को उंगलियों के बीच 2 बार घुमाते हुए पहले 12 से 6 और फिर 3 से 9 की दिशा में गांठ के साथ साथ अपनी दोनों बगलों में भी किसी प्रकार की गांठ जरूर देखो। कभी कभी कैंसर बगल में भी फैल सकता है।
So
yes, we were able to see it very clearly and very nicely explained, I would say.
Yes, I would be happy if this can be circulated to as many women as possible so that they know how to examine themselves.
Wonderful. Yes, it was rather self-explanatory. If you share this with us, we'll have it sent on all the groups, and not only the YouWeCan and the Goa groups, but also to my students where in the university where I teach. I'd love to share it with the girls here. Thank you so much. So last question, Pallavi, your words of wisdom to the women who are sitting here. What do you want to tell them on Women's Day? Should they now stop being on the back burner and put the focus on themselves and stop saying कि अभी दिवाली है, अभी husband की transfer है, अभी बच्चों का school है, अभी पेपर चल रहे हैं, तो उसके बाद जाएंगे, self examination या test कराने. So what do you want to say to the ladies today?
First and foremost, I would say know it to fight it, because till the time you don't know about it, you won't be able to do anything about it. And once you know it, there is the entire system there, well in place, ready to help you. So the early you identify, the best you are doing for yourself. And before you put your family everywhere on front, fine, that is required, that is very much needed. But why do you want to create a situation where you will be no more and then what the family would do? So better is to take care of your health yourself, because there is nobody else going to take care of you better than yourself. So first, go about Because breast cancer is becoming very prevalent these days. It's not uncommon. So we cannot just wait for it to happen. Let's actively find it and kill it.
Great. And would you recommend any kind of websites or sites where people can get authentic information? Because if you, click on Google, it'll tell you you're dying. I mean, for anything, even if you have a mild fever and you put in symptoms that tell you that it's something lethal. So what are the good sites where one can, look for authentic information? Anything you can suggest?
So there are few sites which provide the version of these cancers. So maybe you can look at those sites. So few sites from outside India are cancer.org, cdc.gov, mayoclinic.org, and who.int. And about the Indian sites, we have one national health portal which has got descriptions on various diseases. So hp.gov.in, you'll find enough information on that. And there is one surgeon in, I'm not sure where, they have started their own breast cancer India.net, also have got sufficient information. But other than that, I think there is a need for some kind of, application wherein using the AI, if you have some kind of app where we can provide the information which is tailored to somebody. So maybe YouWeCan and SBI Foundation can take up lead. We can help you with the technical aspects, the information generation, and that kind of or Autobots kind of things. You just type in your query and you get the ready-made message. Because otherwise you have to beat the bush and you have to just find and juggle with those things, and that is too much information overload. So maybe we can find out something like that.
That's a great idea to work on, actually. Thank you. It was, in fact, one of the questions was also there. And then also there's a question on how expensive is cancer treatment. So I think you could give them a balanced approach on that, because we just, last month, it was Childhood Cancer Day, and we had a young boy who's faced cancer 6 times. And he was full of praises of the government hospitals. He says, I barely spent any money on my treatment, and I had amazing doctors and amazing treatment. The fact is that, we are running after private hospitals, so that's where all the money gets spent. But the government is doing so much for the public. So would you like to say something on that?
So yes, in government hospitals, you have treatment modalities which are free of cost or subsidized. So all the tertiary cancer centers, the state cancer institutes, they provide the treatment at a bare minimum. Apart from that, there are so many relief funds which are available for cancer patients. There is Prime Minister Relief Fund, there is Chief Minister Relief Funds, and even the Ayush Bharat scheme also covers a lot of these cancers and cancer-related treatments. So I think all these relief funds can be brought to use by patients who need treatment at absolutely no cost.
Thank you. Thank you for telling us all that, because there's a lot of misconception that cancer treatments are very, very expensive and only the rich can afford it. But lately, I'm beginning to understand that medical facilities and help are available at very, very low cost, right? Okay. So that was my last question to you. Thank you, Dr. Pallavi. It's been amazing listening to you. And as Manju said earlier, that you look so young, and to be able to speak with so much confidence and knowledge, it's a wonderful day to celebrate Women's Day today, getting to listen to people like you. So thank you so much for being here. And now I would request Ms. Hamna. She's the Deputy Manager, Program Development, and she, in fact, has been working very, very closely with the YouWeCan Foundation to please extend her vote of thanks to all the people here today. Over to you, Hamna.
Good afternoon to one and all. I want to take this opportunity to thank our esteemed panelists, firstly, Dr. Pallavi, Shukla, and Ms. Manjula, Kalyanasundaram, Mr. Lalit, Mohan, and of course, Ms. Poonam, Nanda. for their contribution to this extremely important discussion today, and also for their commitment to, ending breast cancer in the country. I also wish to express my profound gratitude to the government of Goa and our funder, the Indian Institute of Banking and Finance, for committing their necessary resources and also supporting the project activities and encouraging us each step of the way, from foundations to hospitals to citizens raising awareness on the cause. No matter how you choose to participate, in the cause, your work is helping to save lives just by raising awareness. So on this, Women's Day, we recognize breast cancer survivors who are still struggling with the disease, their family members and friends who continue to support them. And we reaffirm our commitment to saving women's lives by raising awareness on breast cancer across the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day ahead. Bye-bye. Take care.